talk about home affairs. Hey. In diaspora. Current affairs. Hey. Reliable information. History. Ooh. Talking about culture. Yeah. Politics. Education. Entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Panelist.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Panelist.
At this place where you are and what you've done for this country, you are a stakeholder. I want to say to you, the president has the power to appoint. This is constitutional right. And you as a citizen, you have a right to express how you feel. So what I would say to you, even if you want to exercise the democratic rights, to express to him how you feel, you are welcome to go and express how you feel. Don't do it in a violent way. He's the president of the republic. We put him there. All of us are right here, pay the price, and Joe Boakai to become president. Yo.
When you say you don't have people who come,
Zayo.
people who come,
And so I would say to you this morning, don't worry about me, I'm okay. I'm pretty fine.
but we are not fun.
But if you are not fine, I would say to you, go and express yourself.
You are not satisfied.
Go to the president.
The hope of the ordinary people depends on you.
We are not satisfied. Nobody thought that Unity Party was going to win this election.
Not at all.
All ordinary people like you took on the challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Your community, some of you were threatened.
Oh, yeah. Grandu Kande. No more soon.
Seriously, I want to this one.
I lost my house, I nearly lost my family.
Yes.
But the same JMB presidency
Yes.
finally become president.
Where?
We will want him to succeed. It's too early. I know how you feel. But it is also your right to go there and tell him how you feel.
You must be first one, no.
Do it peacefully. He's the president of the republic. He must be accorded the respect that is due him. Don't worry about me. I'm okay.
Whoa, we're going to take care of.
If he will change his mind for any service, we are here. But let GMB and any Liberian leader be reminded that it's no longer going to be business as usual.
No way.
Thank you.
When the people put you there, you got to listen to them.
Yes.
So go and express your feeling, how
Yeah.
you feel about this and what's going on. He's a wise man. He's a man who listens.
Yeah.
I don't think he will see you at your gate and ask the soldiers to beat you. You are the bosses. From GMB to everybody. We wait for you.
Sure.
We wait for you. So if you're not happy about anything, you got to express it. Going forward, let Liberian leaders know that the main bosses are the people.
Yeah.
And when the people are not happy, the leader will not go well.
Yes.
That's what play we pass.
Rescue mission business.
That's what play we pass. That's what play we pass.
So I want to say to you, go there. You must demand you want to see the president.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure. When it was time for the campaign,
Yes.
he came to you and said, "You're main president, you will see what I will do."
For sure.
And you gave him the mandate.
Yes.
Go there and demand you want to see him.
Just be peaceful.
I am very sure he's going to listen to you.
Yeah.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Panelist.
And I am Anthony Sier. It's Friday, and it is Friday night debate here at Focus. Someone is listening to the broadcast, please.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Panelist.
How's that? Oh, come to the house.
Hey, Mohammed.
Hello.
Welcome.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Our country, sweet Mandela, our country, that God gave all this country. Fellow Liberian, that God gave all this country. We are calling on everyone here to come and pray for this country, Liberia, Liberia, God gave all this country.
Indeed, God gave us this country, Liberia. We want to welcome you to Focus on Liberia. This is Friday. And when it is Friday, it's Friday night debate here at Focus on Liberia. We are focusing on covering issues happening in the nation, Liberia. Number one, protest as President Joseph Boakai's resident, led by Unity Party's chairman, Reverend J. Luther Capet. He has led a group of Unity Party partisans to the residence of the president. Reason why some officials of Unity Party who stood with Joseph Boakai have now been appointed, and they are electing individuals who were nowhere are getting appointed. It is also being reported Chairman Tape and other Boakaites have had interest in 19 positions at the National Port Authority, and the key position at that agency have been filled. the managing director proper and the deputy for administration have been filled. The chairman is not happy, and he has taken the protest to the residence of the president. The gentleman, if you're not speaking, please mute yourself so that there cannot be feedback. This is a very important national discussion. Also, issues with some nominee of the president. We will look at that, and of course, we are not going to forget the rescue mission. My name is Anthony Sia. It's Friday Night Debate, and I'm hosting. Seated and ready to roll is Mr. Jaron Gilman. Mr. Gilman, it's good to have you. How you doing? Welcome to Friday Night Debate. You are muted, sir. He's not ready.
I am ready. Thank you very much for having me. I'm glad that my brother Mohammed Sharif from another mother is here, and we're ready to. This is going to be a rumble in the jungle between me and Mohammed Sharif. How you doing there, my brother? It's great to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Jaron Gilman there. He's unrelenting, unbending, and uncompromising when it comes to his belief about the CDC. Seated and ready to go is Focus on Liberia team member here, Mr. Jimmy Eastman, who joins us from the nation capital. Jimmy, it's good to have you. Are you ready for Friday Night Debate?
Anthony, I'm more than ready. The best way to term this is trouble in paradise. It will be a very interesting discussion.
Thank you. And he is always here to participate in the national discussion. That is Father Elijah Washington. It's good to have you, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I feel fabulous. Thank you for having me on the show. And it's amazing that we can share the platform with these August brothers and from our country to provide education for our people. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Joining us from the land of Canada is Mr. Abu Dukle. It's good to have you. Thanks for joining us today. How you doing? You are muted, sir. Unmute yourself.
I'm all right, Anthony. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Wow, it's good to have you. Appearing on Friday Night Debate for the first time is Mr. Joseph Tao. It's good to have you, my brother. How you doing? Welcome to Friday Night Debate.
Thank you, God. Thank you for having me, Anthony. And I'm glad that we are having a discussion so that we can help to put the rescue team back on track, just in case it's going off track, or at least point out some things that can put it back on track. So I'm happy to be here this evening.
Thank you. I am also happy to be here, but not forgetting my comrade, Mohammed Sharif, from all the way, from the Waplo Institute. Good friend. It's good to see you. How you doing?
I am fabulous. Thank you, Anthony, for having me. Jerome is a guy that, he always shock people. So he comes up now and say, this is my brother, and let's wait. We'll see about that by the end of the show, by the middle of the show. We'll see about that. How about that?
All right, gentlemen, thank you for being here. This is a serious national discussion about our country, Liberia. They came and they said they were coming to rescue the country. They had a message, and the Liberian people welcomed the message. It is time for business. On this side, we do the accountability stuff of it so that things can go well. The chairman of the parties obviously is not happy with the president, especially on the appointment, and he's talking. Let's hear from the chairman. He said, and I quote, "This revolution is for your upliftment, and no human born of a woman will hijack it." Tough talking chairman there, one man thinks so, right? Where were they when we were in the poo-poo water? He said, he continues, "I am not dismayed by not being appointed." He continues, "I lost my house and I nearly lost my family for this same JMB presidency." Gentlemen, let's get a debate started here. You know the first topic on our menu. What is going on here? Is it too early, too soon to see the chairman of the party taking a protest to the residence of the president? What is causing it? Get us started, Comrade Mohammed Sharif.
Thank you. So basically, what is happening is You know, the flight is the takeoff is terrible from everything that I have seen so far. Or you could call it a mixed bag where you have some good appointments, some decent appointments, but at the same time, you have some very questionable appointments. That is what's going on. What is also going on is that you have individuals who have not been named, who are stalwarts of the Unity Party, who are individuals who brought Mr. Boakai to office. The chairman of the party, Mr. Toy, rightfully so, is protesting now because he is looking at the political dividends being divided among individuals who were not in the struggle to begin with. And so this is concerning. Where is, I talk about certain names. Where are these individuals? Where's Lobo? Where's Anthony Kesley? Where is Toy? Where are different people who have been around Mr. Boakai for all these years, who were in the trenches? So I'm not one of those who are going to sit here and say, just give him a time. You all know me about that. I don't care about this. The time is now. You should be in the executive mansion. Your appointment, your list should be crisp. You shouldn't have any kind of situations like this where the chairman of your political party is organizing protests at your house. In fact, your house, which is now the seat of the presidency. This is inexcusable. It is very inexcusable. You have individuals like Mo Ali, whose names have not been called, individuals who years ago under the previous administration who had a very difficult time. Remember Mo Ali, had some brush with the law under the George Weah administration. They were, was sort of witch hunt, and all these guys. So all the chairman is channeling now is the frustration of the ranks and file of the Unity Party.
And Mr. Tao, what does it actually speak to within the ranks of the party to see the chairman leading the protest? I mean, this is just the second week of this administration, and the party chairman is leading the protest nowhere else but at the residence of the president. What you think is causing it internally?
Okay, so Anthony, to respond to this, let's go back a little bit. If you remember, during the transition, right, we started seeing this division. We started seeing this lack of central last command, right, where Mo Ali was saying one thing, Kofi who was saying another thing, right? So we could see that, and I think it was discussed on your show because I watched that show. Okay, so it's what you're seeing here. And somebody said, this is unprofessional. If they had anything, they shouldn't post it on Facebook. They should have gone to the president. And so you would think that around that time, maybe something like they would have been arrested so that there can be some kind of smooth behind the scene work going on. But you still see that. So for me, I see here that I don't know if the president is actually in charge and really running things to where in their rank they can be able to do things behind closed door or not. But what I see about this protest right here, or what I saw on the clip that you showed, is this. Irrespective of whether people who are top Unity Party people are not appointed or not, I don't think it should solely be based on just because I was Unity Party, so I should be appointed. My question will be the people that they're appointing, are they capable? Are they qualified to lead in those positions? And is the Reverend telling me that, because I listened to the clip, he's telling the kids over there that you were the one in the street, you're the one that need the job. So is those kids that Boakai is going to appoint? Or is he using these kids? Because the same Unity Party people accuse the CDC of using the kids as rebels and all kinds of stuff. That's what I'm seeing in that clip. He cannot tell me that for how long he's been close to Boakai. And the insiders, if they had an issue, that they can go ahead and sit down to talk about, he had to call these kids to put them out there. So okay, he said, For me, I don't, if they hire me or not, it doesn't matter. But you people were the one who were in the ring. So is it those kids that are going to get appointed, or is it being disingenuous here? So these are the things that we should be able to spot early on and point out so that they can start using the youth. And the reason the kids are able to gather over there is because government after government have not created opportunity for those kids to be able to develop themselves and to be able to pursue something that is useful in their lives. Because if those kids were in something good, you're not going to get them to gather over there. But because they are all left out, their future is not being looked after. So what happened? Anyone can hand them $10 and $15 and they will all come out there and they will use them. And once the aim is accomplished, they dump them. And for me, that is what I saw in that reverend gathering those kids and talking to them. And they should stop.
And Father Washington, this may beg the question now, who is in control? And are the right appointments being made here? Because this is a party chairman who should have an idea what is going on.
I think this speaks to what I call the cultural socket of our people. When political parties are formed, the mentality is that, hey, when we get elected, we will be the ones who will fill the positions. But when you take the second round into consideration, when you take eggs of a duck at a time of hatching and put it underneath a hen, when that hen hatch that duck, don't expect the eggs from the duck. Don't expect it just to be just the one for the hens. The ducks will also grow up. But you know, the party were having these alliances with the different political parties. What did they expect? Did they expect that after the elections that these people would just be sidelined? You think when they went to these people that had these arrangements, didn't they say something that, hey, when we get there, come and join us. When we get there, we will find something for you. We will put you people in positions. And people give their alliance to them and say, hey, we show that you gave us something. So now that they begin to hear that, oh, we not see our own people. We haven't seen our own people. When you were dancing with the devil, what did you expect? That people of other parties would definitely come. But to speak directly to the situation of the Unity Party,
chairman.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't call these kids. These are people who voted for Joseph Boakai. They are not kids. They voted for him. Now, I would expect that he would talk to them because he's the chairperson of the party. Talk to them and say, hey, we just started, things are not working. Give us some time. We will find a way for you. Or to send them to Boakai House and say, hey, go there. That sends a signal. That, hey, things are not working as they anticipate. So people say, hey, go there and cause some trouble. And let them know that you're not happy. How do we even know that these people, the young men, were not even organized by the party chairperson? So for me, I just think that they are proceeding the wrong way. And I said from the beginning, when Boakai first came to the U.S. and went back to Liberia, that they were not organized. There was something going on. There was something signaling to me that, hey, the party was not organized. There was something wrong fundamentally with the party. And that's why I've said over the years, as the party will not be fundamentally different from that of the CDC. And that's why we begin to see now.
Mr. Gilman, quickly here, is it too early, too soon? This is the chairman of the party. The report that came out here by Front Page Africa is that the chairman had interest in going to the National Port Authority. And why he had that expectation, 2 individuals being appointed there. Talking about Sekou Tukle, a National Port Authority manager, and also one Mr. James Bernard, Deputy Managing Director for Administration. And this is the party chairman now who could not resolve the issue internally and has gone to protest at the president residence.
Well, for those of us that were on this show, we told you over and over that Joseph Boakai was a fraud. And you guys said the language was too strong when I said he was a fraud.
Yes, Mr. Gilman, that language is too strong.
Yeah, to you, but a fraud is someone who is deceptive, someone who presents himself to be something that he's not. So I will give you an example. Joseph Boakai is a user, and on one occasion you ask a question about Joseph Boakai's asset declaration. You ask one of his protege, does Joseph Boakai have a record of producing through transparency in the past, over his 50 years of governmental leadership, has he ever declared his assets? And the answer was never. So for the past, since this guy got into government since 1964, okay, we are at 2004, that's about what, 60 or 50 years. If he has not done it in 50 years, what makes you think he's going to do it in the 51st year? Let's look at, does he have a history of betraying people? And I'm going to start with those when he was down, according to him. The Uris of the world, the Nyobli Kangas of the world, the Costas of the world. What did he say? He says, all I want to do is become president. If it means dancing with the devil, I will do so as long as it meets my objective. Today, I was listening to the choir in the United States, those that thought they were going to be something because Joseph Boakai had promised them. The Fagons of the world, you look on Spoon TV, the entire format over the Mame, Maurice Cromat, the whole crew. These are young folks that thought this is going to be a new day in Liberia, but little did they know, I told them here, if this man could do this to Uri, if he could do it to Nyobli Kanga, if he could do it to the likes of Costa that brought him back from the dead, nobody is off the table. Now here we are, we have 18 top-level cabinet positions. Those positions were being looked at by the lieutenant, those that put their neck on the line, those that were willing to die for Joseph Boakai. And Joseph Boakai made it clear. He says we have enough talent on the ground. We do not need to go to the diaspora to bring folks. What did he do? The total opposite. So Joseph Boakai is who Joseph Boakai is. He wants to have an aim accomplished. Now that he's president, everybody else is disposable. He has a record for doing that. I just named those. So if Mr. Tapper thought that he was going to be a unique human being to whom Joseph Boakai would be loyal, he just found out the rude way, like Mr. Fangon was on. And he, when he looked at someone during the campaign, said that he was going to the Ministry of Information, where he really wanted to go. And everything at the Information Ministry has been taken. So there is nowhere you can find these folks. So yet I'm telling you that Joseph Boakai has a history of betraying everybody. Anybody is disposable. He said he wanted to be president and he was willing to dance with the devil to be there. They should have known that. So I am not surprised. Most of us now have been vindicated, and this is just the beginning.
Well, too many positions still left, though, but let me fit that. Mr. Dukley, the power to appoint is the sole responsibility of the president. Chairman Luther Tapper, I believe, understands that. So what point got him now to be leading the protest when the president is doing what he's constitutionally called to do? Does he have a point or not? You are muted, sir.
Yeah, I think, Anthony, you have to really go back and look at the political culture of these political parties going back since the dawn of the new era after the war. And if you can recall, when CDC took power, we had similar situation occur where the NPP followers of Joe Howard Taylor that came to the CDC and other members of the CDC that were already in the party, there was some sort of a struggle when it came to various positions that people were appointed to. So, yes, the president is the person with the authority, who is clothed with the authority to appoint, and everybody who is appointed serve at his pleasure. With that said, remember everybody that was on this so-called rescue train, they all have their different political calculus, and there were multiple camps and multiple interests, and none of which align with the man who decides what happens. That's one. The other thing is, and I think this is a symptoms of what is wrong with many of our political parties, their inability to manage expectations, either during campaign season or even after winning the elections. So, as is evident by what happened today at the president's residence by the chairman of Unity Party, it's not called for, but you have to look at the internal structure of the so-called rescue mission. There were a lot of multiple interests that were not aligned together. So what you see the Unity Party chairman doing, he belongs to a camp. Really, he's competing with other camps that are very, very forceful in what they want and how to go about getting what they want. So I wouldn't put much into their demand being met, because you see right now as we speak, all of the major cabinet positions have been filled, and they are filled with people that we might know them. We knew them. We knew they were members of the Unity Party, but during the campaign and all the upheavals that occurred during the campaign season, we never heard of some of them. We never saw some of them. So I'm sort of a Joseph Boakai doesn't have total control because of the competing interests that he had to contend with while campaigning. So the inability of the standard bearer to manage the expectations is now coming to bite him, because look at how it works here in the developed part of the world. Not everyone who participated in campaign is expected to serve a position in the government. No, but we don't know that. In our culture, in our political dispensation as we know it, it doesn't occur like that. People who feel they've contributed something to the campaign are expecting something in return, and that return is a position in the government. So you have the camp of Kofi Woods, you have Mo Ali, and you have other people who have other interests that is not aligned with what Joseph Boakai has decided. So until such time that the president has full control on his ability to manage these expectations, we're going to see these kinds of things pop up here and there every so often.
Mr. Jimmy Eastman, is it reasonable now to say that the party may not have any input here as to who gets appointed? Do we even have a vetting process in place here?
Excellent question, Anthony. There was always the question of what the power structure of this Boakai administration would be. Who will be calling the shots? Who will be the main core that directs what happens? And that has always been the question. And what we're beginning to see is the unveiling of that power structure. We still got yet to determine who is running the show. So what we're seeing, I believe the chairman he jumped the gun. I don't think this was the proper time for him to organize a protest against somebody who's not been in the office over a week. regardless of the appointments. And on his part, there have also been some questions about how the inauguration funds were handled. I'm not sure if he was involved in that. I'm not sure this is a backlash from the handling of that. But whatever the case may be, it's way too early for him to make take such a step against the newly incumbent president. But what we also take into consideration, that who is Luther Dabe? He replaced Amin Modad as party chairman. Today, Amin Modad has already been appointed the commerce minister. I think he's even confirmed. So what is that power structure that's there? You would think that the party chairman had a lot of power, but here it is. When we thought Amin Modad was sidelined, but here he has gained a position. So there is a power structure that we have not really determined. And let's also cite other cases. We noticed that Henry Costa made accusations of being deceived or has been sidelined. Benin Ayuri, Alex Cummings. So we're going to see eventually the actual power that be within the Boakai administration. And I think it's early. That's why I believe it is a mistake on the part of the chairman to make such a dastardly move at this time. It is still formulating. And all he had to do was wait patiently, unless he knows that this is a backlash from the handling of the inaugural funds. So that still, I think it's way too early for something like this to have happened.
And Comrade Sharif, the chairman, one thing he said that we shouldn't forget is that he said this revolution is for your upliftment, and no human born of a woman will hijack it. Talk to me here quickly. What is the chairman talking about? Who is he accusing of hijacking a revolution yet? This is just 2 weeks in the administration.
This is a revolution. It's a political revolution in the sense of dethroning a popular president, a celebrity president. This is not so usual in Liberian history. We talked about the history the other day where, George Weah was probably the second or the third to be defeated in office. So this is a revolution in that sense. And so the guys, the young men and women who put their lives on the line for this revolution, are not seeing the fruit of their labor. And so the chairman is speaking to their frustration. So no, this is not early. Disagree respectfully with Jimmy. This is not early. This is now the time to do this. I support him. If I'm in Monrovia, I would join him in such a protest because of the fact that, when you in Liberia, we all know the reality. The reality in Liberia is that someone mentioned this, one of the guests mentioned this, is that everybody is looking up to the public sector for something, to get out of poverty, to do something for yourself. There are very few people with ideologies such as economic empowerment, educational empowerment, those kinds of things. And so the fact that this chairman, under his leadership, this revolution occurred, and now instead of being a part of the transition team that will map out and look for qualified people, he's an outsider looking in. That is very inexcusable. And Joseph Boakai need to do something immediately, because right before our very eyes, we are seeing in the second week of this administration, we are seeing the disintegration of the coalition that brought Mr. Boakai to office. Keep in mind, you have opposition people that are complaining in the background. You're not hearing Akub yet, but believe me, you hearing something in the background. Perhaps Appleton's group, you're hearing something in the background. You're hearing also from Prince Johnson, a major member of the coalition. So you're hearing some things. And so this is, this symptoms of bad things. This is the beginning of bad news for Mr. Boakai. If he doesn't care about the next term, about being reelected, then yes, he can walk down this path and not listen to Mr. Tour and others, but he needs to listen to them. Yes, I will go to the president's residence to protest with Mr. Tour if I was in Monrovia, because guess what? The president's residence is now the executive mansion. Where else can I go? That's the executive mansion. That's the home. That's the president's seat of office now. So you have the right, and under the law, you have the right, morally, politically, legally, to go to that residence and protest and put your demands on the table.
Excuse me, he meant Brother Sheriff. You came together to remove an incumbent president. There were no promises of position. There were no promises that you would have this authority in the government. You came together to accomplish a mission. Most of the times, your ideas should come together, but the only idea I saw in the unit was the removal of President Weah and the replacement of President Weah with VP Boakai. That is the only idealism that I saw. That's the only cohesive element. Why would you be surprised now that they are not being appointed when the only thing that brought them together was simply to remove President Weah? They don't have the same ideas. They don't have the same.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. There is no ideology. We've talked about that, Anthony. We talk about the fact that there's no underlying ideology in the Liberian political structure where people are running for office, basically running to occupy positions, and Jimmy is speaking to that. So that is correct. And because of that, you need to have these people who have these aspirations enjoy the fruit of their labor. He labored. He is under his chairmanship that the party was able to win this election, regardless of what anyone says. So I am with him. I support him 100% on his aspiration to serve his country. He needs to serve his country. I mean, you got people, the Minister of Internal Affairs, who said, "I'm a former rebel." You got people, incompetent people who have already been named to position. So what is going on?
Thank you, Commissioner. Let me welcome Mr. Eston, Legend Wisa. Mr. Wisa, welcome to Friday Night Debate. We are on the topic, the protest as President Boakai's resident, led by the party's chairman, J. Luther Tape. My question to you now is, the chairman said this, and I quote, "I am not dismayed by not being appointed." Does that speak to something bigger than what we may be hearing? Why is he not surprised that he's not being appointed? And now he's leading a protest. So this may not only be about jobs, it might be something else. What's your reading of this?
Well, first, let me say thanks for a 40-minute opportunity and greetings to everyone in viewing land. This is something that is of concern. I'm a realist, and I speak from that standpoint. Something that the government that just left office did, they took care of their stalwarts. When it came to power in their first few weeks, they had all their people who were very much upfront, people who were in the trenches, people who were in the gutters fighting for CDC to come to state power. They took care of them. This is alarming for this government. I'm hearing from people who I'm closer to within the inner circle of Ambassador Boakai that some with the likes of Mr. Tape, Reverend Tape, Boakai Jaliba, Stephen Johnson, those guys who were out there for him would be rewarded, and rightfully so, because those are people who are educated. They are not just people who are chanting and making noises. They have the requisite. My friend, Brother Boakai Jaliba, he went to Georgetown. He guys is solid education, and so many other people. It is alarming, and I can see where the people come from. But in the same vein, I would like to say this: people should just muster courage to be just a little bit patient. I think the overall process should be sped up to some extent, but as far as those who are the stalwarts, he should be given a recognition and should be rewarded there. Like I said, not because they were there, but because they were there, coupled with the fact that they are qualified and educated enough to get the job. If you can put other people there, you can there. And to be honest with you, the government should be pushing for a lot of young and energetic people, like someone alluded to. We have a lot of people in the Western world that are young, that are privileged to work in places that they are qualified for. We should look in that direction. We need energetic, young, vibrant people to take jobs. So yeah, that is a concern for me and most Liberians.
Thank you. And Mr. Tao, the chairman also said there will be no business as usual. And I think he was trying to hold the president accountable there, because the president said that in his State of the Nation's address, that there will be no business as usual. I think he said that also in his inaugural, if I'm not mistaken. What is this business as usual that the chairman sees here that he's talking about? I think it is obvious that's what he's talking about. Is that what you see?
Yeah. Okay. Anthony, before I go to that, I want to clarify 2 points here, or at least throw light on 2 things. Brother Sharif said something here that if he was in Monrovia, he will be out there and he'll be demonstrating. And because we know that they were in the rain and they were in all of this stuff in the struggle, unless he does not want to get appointed, to get re-elected for a second term, unless he doesn't care about that. Okay, he made that point, and I will hold that. And Brother Wise just made another point that says that one thing that CDC did was when they came to power, all of their major generals, which is their top people, they placed them. But you see, this is the problem that I find with the democracy, of the way our governments are functioning. So because somebody was able to campaign, so you place them, are they qualified? Can they serve the country? Can they serve in those capacities? If we are supposed to build our nation and move our country forward, what were one of the complaints? CDC placed them, but what was the complaint throughout? They're not qualified. Koji should not be there. And what happened? They didn't listen. Okay, when we're talking about a re-election, this is the problem with democracy in the way in which it works. Because if you really have to change something, because we are all fighting, so we need something to change so that the country can move in the right direction. But how can you move it? If the fear is that, am I going to get elected next election? So that's how do we transcend this, and how do we avoid this in the democracy? Because until these things are really addressed, what we're going to have is the same thing all of the time, because these are the gauges that are then, these are the gates that you have to deal with. So if I came to power and I wanted to clean up corruption, and I wanted to put people on trial for economic crime, then my fear is I can't touch this guy because he brought me votes. I can't touch this one because he gave me this county. Then we have the same thing. Or I'm going to place Anthony because he brought Sino, or Gay Man brought Grand Bassa. But if they're not qualified to be finance minister or defense minister, I'm still going to place them. So for me, I don't think even that's where the issue is. Are these people qualified? And like Mr. Eastman said, and somebody else said, I think it was Brother Washington, they came together with a bunch of coalition of people, right? So all of these people, it's the same thing with the votes. So they brought their vote, they brought their people, you place in some of them. The chairman is from within the Unity Party. The Unity Party.
Mr. Tao, yes. The chairman argument is that if others are being considered, maybe because they are qualified, we too are qualified, we work. In his case, he's saying, I almost lost my life. This man horse, it was reported that was burned down. His horse got the fire.
Yeah, and I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that, right?
So if others are getting rewarded, who were not by Boakai and campaign for Boakai are getting rewarded, maybe because they are qualified, if they who work and qualify, Why shouldn't they be considered?
And I'm not trying to dispel that, right? I'm not trying to dismiss that. If he is qualified and he worked, if there is position, they should place him. But this is what I'm getting from this. You say he made a statement that it is not nobody born of a woman is going to hijack this revolution, right? And then he leaves with a group of young men and they go to the president's house, right? For me, what this tells me is that the person that is making the appointment, making the decisions, is not the president. And so he's been ignored. So he's not calling on the president.
So you think he's not accusing the president of hijacking the revolution, but it's someone else?
No, that there are people that are in charge and running the show, and it's not the president. That is what I'm getting from this. So now he's trying to call the president's attention. But there are people, because we saw this throughout the whole transition. It's like this person doesn't know, and the other person, and these are top people. They don't know, they don't know. And I asked the question on one of our stuff, but then who is actually in charge? And I want to believe this is still what's going on, and he's trying to now let the president know, hey, look, these people that you put in charge for them to do things, this is what they're doing, and he's trying to call the president's attention.
So to conclude your point there, you believe that the president is not in charge?
I don't think he's fully
believe that someone else is in charge.
That a group is in charge, and that group is ignoring them, and he's trying to call the president's attention. He thinks that this group is the one that is trying to hijack the revolution.
And Father Washington, another thing he said is there will be no business as usual, right? So when he said there will be no business as usual, who is he speaking to? What is he talking about here? Do you know?
I think what is his name, Reverend Tappert has been disingenuous, because when I listened to him the first time he spoke, we had issues with the distribution of the money that was given for these different districts to celebrate. He was one person who, when I listened to him, he gave me the impression that, hey, he didn't know nothing about it. He would see what there was nothing. There was not going to be business as usual. Now, for him to come back again, be the one telling political parties, candidates to go to the president house and protest, I'm like, what is he talking about? And so it's, for me, this guy, he's disappointed, and I think he's trying to express his disappointment in his way and trying to use other people to be the one to fight his battle. When you go into a war, when you go into a revolution, it's not everyone who is going to be in the front line. It's not everybody who's going to go into the trenches. It's not everyone who's going to go into the purple water. There will be people who will be in the offices, who will be working on the computer and making things to work. There will be others who will be somewhere else, who will be contributing money. There will be people from all walks of life who are contributing to this war so that it will succeed. So to get the impression that, because you were not in the purple water, so therefore you should not be given position, for me, it doesn't make any sense. Because there were people who were supporting the Unity Party. They were not in Moravia, they were somewhere else, but they were supporting the Unity Party. And moreover, there were alliances that they made. They made these alliances. I'm sure when Joseph Boakai, the Unity Party, went to, what is his name, from Akko, they said something to them. When they called on Agonglo, they said something to him. When they called Prince Johnson his political party, they said something to them. So now that when they was the food not done, they're only the poor who initially were at the front of the people who don't want to eat. So if he's making these appointments, they should expect that there will be other people who will be appointed who would not necessarily be top people from a city. And what my mother taught me, that when you're dividing food, you get the other people first and wait for yourself to be the last to get the cross. So to show that you are fair. So I expect him to be waiting, and after everything gets done, then he can go. So why he still want to eat right now? When others are not eating, he's complaining.
Thank you, Father Washington and Mr. Dukley. So this chairman is talking about no business as usual. So let's try to hold him accountable here. The Unity Party's position then on the inaugural fund expenditure was that the party decided to deduct or remove $1,000 from the $5,000 for each of the 73 electoral districts in Liberia. The president office said the money was intended for citizens in all the districts to celebrate, but the party had a meeting, and that meeting was under the leadership of Chairman Luther Tappert. that use money intended for citizen celebration of the president inauguration for the party to celebrate. Maybe their thinking was that the party officials are Liberians too, right? But the question I'm asking you now is, he's talking about business as usual. What he exhibited or the party exhibited, was it not business as usual way too early? Because this is what he's complaining about right now.
Honestly, personally, for me to say it's not going to be business as usual, I consider it an empty political statement, or if you want to call it political slogan. It's an empty slogan that politicians always like to use. If you remember, clearly when Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was being inaugurated, and she proclaimed that corruption was going to be enemy number one. And you and I and everybody on this panel can attest to what she did when it came to enemy number one. So I wouldn't put much stock into that statement. Again, just to sort of put things in perspective, look, in our system of governance and the way our political system has been organized, the first cabinet usually cabinet that reflects the various interests that came together to get the winning party elected. So cabinet appointments are usually the reflections of those coalitions and all the political interests that came together. With that said, I think the chairman has a point, but the problem with his point is that he's also competing with a lot of other people who got interests, and some of whom interests had not been realized. So in my thinking, I'm not sure if this is going to go anywhere, considering the enormous pressure that is now being mounted on the president from all the factors, all the people that came together. Because I spoke to somebody in the diaspora here who was also very, very active in the rescue mission. As a matter of fact, he just returned back from Liberia after the inauguration. He was telling me, Brother Duke, I don't think some of us stand any chance. And I said, why? He said, because, man, there are just too many people who have interests that are waiting to see what's going to happen. So I wouldn't put much stock into the chairman's statement that it's not going to be business as usual. Trust me, it's going to be business as usual. That's just how it is. I don't know why we are even putting much stock into that statement. It's going to be business as usual.
It is already.
The reason we're trying to ask a question is because the president made that pledge. He vowed that it will not happen under his watch as president of Liberia. And one other thing the president said is that wherever wrongdoing will be found, the law would take its course. He said that in his inaugural, not inaugural, but his State of the Nation's address. So that brings me to this question, and that is for you, Mr. Gilman here. What Mr. Boakai said is not different from what President Weah said. He said similar thing. Ellen said similar thing. But then people believe that not much was done when it comes to the fight against corruption. And now, just even before the ball could be centered, Unity Party is putting hands in the cookies jar with inaugural funds. Is there an opportunity here for the president to show that wherever wrongdoing will be found, there will be accountability here?
Well, I think I made this clear over and over. First, let me discuss the issue of this thing called qualification that they are using to sideline other folks. As you can see in the Senate, the hearing, you will find that all those flashy resume and everything that glitter is not gold. We know that. Joseph Boakai himself is a lawbreaker. He campaigned on transparency. He campaigned on the rule of law. He went on VOA and said, before I take office, anybody who I appoint or who I intend to appoint will be vetted. They will declare the assets before they even take office. He said, and I will take the lead as required, as prescribed by law. I will declare my asset, not only declare, but publish before I take office. Because he said that was required by law. He broke that law. Joseph Boakai said he was broke. He had no money. And attested to by Weatherspoon and all of these people that show voucher of $3,000 stopping to keep him going throughout. Ure, everybody came about. What did Joseph Boakai do? Before he took office, he went to Total Time and donated 10 million Liberian dollars plus 200 bags of rice and said, this is on behalf of me and my wife as an initial donation. And then you see that his home is being renovated before he even got sworn in. And his lieutenant on our show here, Mr. Aliu Kamara, said, the man have not been inaugurated. So anything that happens before, don't hold him responsible. If the Lebanese got together and want to give him a befitting home before he takes office, so be it. So here we are. Today we find out that a gentleman that was nominated for Minister of Public Works, the law says anyone who is nominated for that position has to have an engineering background. He does not have an engineering degree. So these people are breaking all the rules. So what makes you think that, I think I want to agree with my brother Dukley here, we are putting too much emphasis on political rhetoric. And one of the things I don't want to hear is when Joseph Boakai and the Unity Party and Mr. Sharif, everybody here said that the WIA administration was so badly governed that a new sheriff was in town and he was going to do something new. It was a brand new day. Now we are saying here, people are saying, but CDC did this too. Ellen did this too. We didn't declare his asset until 7 months into it. Gave Joseph Boakai time. It's too early. So this is the deception within our own society. And I think Ellen made it clear. She said, corruption in our society, it is within our sinew. It's in our mosques. It's in our churches. It's in our homes. It's in our own family. So corruption is here to stay. So what Joseph Boakai is doing here, Joseph Boakai is not living by the rules. As you saw today, where in Liberian history, I called Professor Dunn and other folks to consult with them, where in Liberian history, when we say separation of power, where the executive appoints people within the legislative body, senators to be the vetting arm of the executive, people that are going to confirm these people. Like Dylan said, he recommended his sister-in-law to Boakai, and Boakai nominated his sister-in-law, and he was cheering his sister-in-law's nomination. He says, I want to show you this is, I want to be clear here that I have the courage to confirm my sister-in-law to tell you that this is what he said is sunshine. It is not done in the darkness, so it's not corruption. These are the kind of things we have never seen before. So my people, this is not anything new. I think Brother Dukley is right. This is business as usual. In fact, they are going back to the true We Party days. This is it, the true We Party days, where the president and the Senate, those are separated powers, but they get together, say, I'm going to send my boy over there. You confirm me. You send you chop and I chop. That's what it is. So it is for me. This is the Fantin people, or the people call it the Sankofa bird. You are flying, but you're looking backward. Joseph Boakai is an orientation of himself. Joseph Boakai is from the old order. He knows no other things. So he's going back to what he knows, which is the dictatorial Tottenham way of doing things. I call you and say, you are coming to sign no contract to be superintendent, and no if or ands about it. So nothing new here. This is business as usual.
Jermaine, do you agree with Mr. Gilman here?
Actually, I categorically disagree with Mr. Gaiman. I think we're still going, it's revealing itself. The true power broker in this new administration is going to be revealed. We already beginning to see some influences, like you mentioned Dillon, you mentioned Prince Johnson. I think it's not clear yet. And when the dust settles, then we'll see what kind of administration we have. I do agree with him that, VP Boakai comes from an era of a different time. All right. But he has always had his reservations, of what was happening then. And now we're about to see how he will conduct his administration. Mike Tyson.
Mr. Ismail, point of correction here. Can you agree with me that Joseph Boakai was on VOA? He said he was going to declare his assets.
Yes, he did.
He said, according to the law, did he say that?
Yes, he did. I heard it.
Did he declare him?
He has not. He has yet to do it.
There you go.
So why you disagree with then, Jimmy?
What I disagree with is there's still time for these corrections to be made. Okay, it has not happened yet.
But his argument is not that they will not make correction.
I think it's still early to provide a verdict. I'm reserving a verdict.
Okay.
For now, I think things can take fold before we come to a verdict. Let's not be quick to come up with a verdict.
But Jimmy, hold on, Mr. Gilman. Jimmy, this is the experienced team. This is a party that governed before for 12 years. This is a party that should know better from the get-go. With these errors, today they pull another nominee from the very Public Works. They pull that nominee and send another person. I think the Minister of the Justice Destiny was pulled twice, and then they send another person. Is this normal? Is there a display of the experience that we were told about?
Thank you. That's a good question. I will quote Mike Tyson. Everybody got a game plan until you get punched in the mouth. Okay. Now that they finally got power now that they're in the seat, all of a sudden the same convictions they've had, we see it wavering. We see it beginning to crumble. The reason why I said it's a little bit early is because if we're going to convict somebody, if we're going to come up with a verdict, let us give it enough time to have enough evidence that this is what's going on. I still believe this ship or this train can get back on track if they make assertive decisions. But if it continues in the direction it's going, then we might have something else.
All right, gentlemen, let me give Mr. Wissa the final word on this protest led by Unity Party Chairman Luther Tappe. Legend, my question to you.
My brother Jimmy. My brother Jimmy made a quote of the great Iron Mike, I like to call him, but let me make a quote of another renowned a lawyer in the United States, and she says, when you are speaking the truth, you don't have to think about your answer. So those of us who support this government, we remain objective, and I will always say, as a realist, we will call them out whenever they go wrong. We will point it out. We will not be blind followers. We will not be blind loyalists. But somebody like Gay Man and baffled when they speak. Where were they? Did they remember when the pointing fingers were going toward the brother of the first lady in we as government, Clyde, we are brother for the pointing finger of drugs in our country? Have you forgotten that? Have you forgotten that George, we are with all the wealth that he claimed to have had, and people are accused him or mismanaging his funds when he played.
Mr.
But when he came
Legend,
to state
Mr.
power,
Legend,
he didn't do
Mr.
even
Legend,
I come in, let me
Mr.
let my
Legend,
thoughts.
Mr.
Yeah.
No, Mr.
Mr.
Legend,
Goodman, he's protected.
Yeah, no, listen, I won't let you do that because this
Let
is
me
not
land.
about the past. This is about Joseph Boakai. This is
No,
why
no,
they
no.
said, this
Mr.
is why
Goodman,
they
say
said,
that.
we are not going to let it get it past. We talk about this administration
Let him
now
go,
because
man.
the problem was that you were coming here to change things.
Mr. Goodman is within his time, please. Legend, you are protected. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Whenever you speak freely. Like I said, when you are stating facts, you don't have to think about what you have to say. And I progress. So whenever George Weah was in state power, he professed to earn a lot of millions. People claim that he mismanaged the funds, and I've in time named a lot of things that didn't go well for him. He had a sports store. Where is it today? Cannot be found. He had a nightclub. You cannot find that. He had a radio and TV station.
So, Mr. Wisa,
Nowhere among
what's your
prominent
point with
media
that? Tell
institutions.
us that we are.
Today he had
What's your point with that?
You know what? My point is, my point here is things that he did when he was president. George Weah took state power within the first year. He also refurbished the entire house on 9th Street. Do you expect Boakai to live in the house that he lived in all those years without making any augmentment?
Are you saying that? Are you saying that? Are you saying that Mr. Boakai now is following the example of Weah, and that makes it right?
No, not quite. I'm just stating here that a president should upgrade. He cannot remain who he was before becoming a president. George Weah built several mansions for himself in Painesville. People have public outcries. They profess that it was not his personal, it was not money that he embezzled. So be it. But I'm saying to you, the things that were right, we were stated. The things that are not going according to the government's plan that we expected to be done differently, we will be upfront and we will say it. The government that you supported, Gaiman, I'm telling you, if it was threading in the right path, the Liberian people will not have put it. This government is just in, I can say about 12 days, less than 2 weeks. And if you're going to critique this government equally in a parallel with a government that served for 6 years, you'll be doing injustice to the government. Like Jimmy said, there are things to be corrected, and we acknowledge it. You know, like the way they started on the rough patch. But who knows? Things will get on the right footing and things will pick up. So we will state the facts, but we're not allowing people to come and criticize this government with less than 2 weeks and just think that, oh, this is the government that we supported, will be blind to it. And when your government were there, whenever we acknowledge these things, you all will play a blind eye to them. I'm just calling it out.
All right. Thank you. With that, we will take a short break and we'll come back. We'll be talking about issues with some nominees appointed by the president. The president is on record for saying, I will choose individuals who share the same values that I have. Is that what we're seeing? And an experienced government or the party that ran on experience should be able to dot the I's and cross the T's and vet people. Mr. Boakai talked about vetting. Are they vetting? Are they getting the right individuals? If so, why are we hearing some questionable things about some of the nominees? Who is responsible yet? Someone is dropping the ball, or this is just normal? We'll be right back.
Our country, sweet Mandela, our country, that God gave all this country. Fellow Liberian, that God gave all this country. We are calling on everyone here to come and pray for this country, Liberia, God gave all this country.
Indeed, like Liberians, God gave us this country. Let's look at some issues with some of the nominees. One such person is Sarah Besloyenti. There is a group called Campaigners for Academic Crimes, I think they call them. Martin Colley is one of the campaigners there, and they are saying this woman obtained her credentials fraudulently. They argue this thing is about integrity and public trust and honesty. for this woman to have claimed these credentials, they believe she does not earn and to be nominated to this position. That is not fair to other Liberians, and we will look at that. And there are a lot of issues that have been going on. She went for confirmation, and we saw former ambassadors at the Senate chambers where she was supposed to go through this confirmation hearing. It was believed that those people went there to support her. Please be reminded now, she has been nominated as Minister of Foreign Affairs. And these former ambassadors and diplomats, probably they are in her ears, and maybe promises being made, or they are thinking that, well, if they support her this time, she will withdraw them. And they were there, and some of them occupied seats reserved for senators who are supposed to participate in the confirmation process. The whole place got crowded with a lot of people who went to support her, and so they have to cut the confirmation hearing up. What is going on here? Isn't that enough already that this woman be questioned about her credentials, and she is taking a cheering squad in the chambers to cheer for her? What is going on here? Others are saying, with all this going on now, this nomination should be withdrawn by the president. What do you think? As though that is not enough, we have something here to show you.
No problem with the police. 100% professional. That is no problem with the police. If we form Palabu, that is not correct. I don't want to say Palabu. Well, I've been doing it. Let me see
All right, sorry, the video there is freezing. I will explain to you what is happening there. That was or is the Minister of Internal Affairs designate, Francis Sakala Umali. I hope I got that pronunciation right there. If someone knows it better, please help me. So he at some point was taken into a security area there, and there was issue he had with somebody, and he threatened to mob somebody to death. And somewhere in the video, he said he's a former rebel, and he used some profanity. This is the man who was nominated by now President Boakai to be the Minister for Internal Affairs. We are talking about vetting. We are talking about a party that was in power before that should know a thing about vetting individuals. We are talking about the president who said, whoever I choose will be someone who reflects my values. Comrade Sharif, this is your favorite subject, and you are with me on this one. What have you to say? Are they dotting the T's and crossing the I's yet? What's going on?
No, they're not. Before I descend on that, I just wanted to make some corrections. I think I keep mixing up the name of Tua and Tape, because Tua was the Secretary General. And then Tape, Luther Tape. So I apologize for that, to viewers who, I'm going back and forth with the names. But Luther Tape is the chairman. And so what you see, Anthony, is the lack of due diligence. So you mentioned, Sarah Bessler Yanti, and Yanti is going in to the chambers with, with the cheering squad. First of all, that shouldn't be allowed. I don't know if it is legal, but such a thing should not be allowed. And then if you did your due diligence, I'm not saying I don't have any evidence. I have no evidence that what she's been accused of is what's happening. So I probably withhold judgment on that. She seemed like a decent professional woman. So are other decent professional women in Liberia as well. Is it time that they can start looking elsewhere? Perhaps. So let's see. This is an unfolding event right there in her situation. In the last clip that you just showed, this guy said, yes, he said, I'm a former rebel and they play with me, and this is what I'm going to do. You see, that's the problem with Liberia. We have a whole bunch of people walking the streets of Liberia, everywhere in Liberia, that they harm to the Liberian people, and they went away, you know, the culture of impunity. But to crown all that now, that the president had this man in his designated in his cabinet. These are the things I'm talking about. You think Reverend Tapper is not looking at this? You think Reverend Tapper is not saying, you know, you have this kind of questionable character. Where did he come from? Why not me? Why am I not in that position? So somehow on this show tonight, we have colleagues who are saying that it's an issue of qualification, as if Reverend Tapper is not qualified. You know, I mean, this is the kind of thing that is hard to listen to, because if you have someone like this, if he was completely vetted, you will not have this kind of person, you know, in the cabinet lineup. And what I'm going to say about this is that I do hope that he gets rejected, because, you know, we cannot have this kind of situation. And lastly, Anthony, on that, the president's office needs to come out tomorrow morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, whenever they start, whenever they start work. I don't know when they start work down there, but they need to come out as early as possible to ensure that they are distancing themselves from this designate, from this nominee. They need to distance themselves immediately from him. Again, they take off this flight that's taken off, the Boakai's flight that's taken off. It's not taken off well. This is a bad look for his administration already.
Father Washington, it's also been reported that this person is a relative of the president, who is boasting that he will mob someone to death and that he's a former rebel. So if they report that this guy is a relative to the president, he must have heard about this behavior from this man. What do you think?
You know, first, when I go back to the whole thing about what happened in Capitol today, I think it was shambolic. I think it was embarrassing. I think it was intimidating that you would get all this number of people for your confirmation, carrying the devil to go at the Capitol and dance. What is that? I just think it's an intimidation. Why would you want to do that? If you say you're qualified, you don't even take all this kind of people. And then when they even went into the hall, I see all these ex-ministers. I said, what is that? And, you know, for me, I think her nomination should be withdrawn. I think she's qualified. But I just think, just look at everything that's happened. I just think that's not the kind of person. Why doesn't he even do all that to get confirmed? For this guy, I don't even think his name should come closer. I think the president should just withdraw his name. I mean, he should not even come close to being a cabinet minister. I mean, this kind of person is going to be the one to be our lieutenant minister, a general affairs minister, going to be leading our chiefs and leading our people. That cannot happen. For me, I think it is strength. It is strength. It is leadership. When the president makes an appointment and he withdraws the appointment, that's leadership. I don't have a problem with that. Because probably he's gone through his vetting and something new has come up and he removes that person. That's leadership. That's the way it should be done. And you know, you make an appointment, you can withdraw the appointment. I don't think it's a sign of weakness. It's not a sign that you don't know what you're doing. But now you tell people that, hey, I'm not going to take anything for granted. When I find out that you're not competent, you're not a kind of person that's supposed to be there, I will remove you. That's a sign of strength. And I think that's what the president should do. Certain people now is appointed. I'm also hearing as a possibility, because maybe I listen to the justice minister designate that there's a pause on his confirmation. That's a good sign. If there's something that comes on, the president thinks that he should not go ahead, withdraw his name. That shows that you bring credibility to your government. So for me, I think that's very embarrassing what we saw the TV. I think this guy should not go for confirmation. He just withdraw his name, no matter what relationship he has with the president.
Thank you. And Mr. Ducle, let me come to you here. This man is boasting that he's a former rebel and threatening to mob someone to death. And the president now is promising accountability and going as far as say, hey, there will be a war crime court. What should be done for this particular nominee who exhibited this behavior? Now that the president, maybe he didn't know, but this is a relative, this is somebody from Lofa. What do you think should be done now?
I think, I mean, this is not this is not a situation that requires any hard thinking or any difficult decision. If this guy was nominated to be the Internal Affairs Minister, I'm surprised if that nomination has not been pulled, because it should be condemned in the strongest terms possible. But personally, my take on these things are a little different than most of us on the panel here, because of my background and what I see. Look, the guns have been silenced for many, many years now, but Liberians are still traumatized. And every time things happen, you see this trauma exhibited in so many ways. Look, as much as we might not like it, but this is what I would call business as usual. This is how people have been used to talking. This is how people have been accustomed to, taking care of their differences. I mean, tell me, since the war stopped, whatever it was that brought about this decision of hostility, this is how people do things. This is how people speak. People, I mean, there's no more civility. People are no longer, willing to talk out their differences, or, So I'm not surprised, but this is a no-brainer. I mean, I'm not even sure if anyone in their right mind would even consider a gentleman like this for a position of internal affairs. But this is LIB, as they would say. So, I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm only surprised at how slowly they have not reacted to this man's behavior. And I just wanted to make another point here. When people talk about qualification, there's one thing I've noticed in Liberia: just because someone holds master's degree does not qualify you for anything. I'm sorry. I mean, look, if you are put to if you got a master's degree in law and you have no regulatory experience, why should they put you at telecom as an example? Because telecom is a place that require deep knowledge of regulatory processes and whatever that is associated with. I'm just using that as an example. But this is how we, as Liberian, this is how we think. Even the so-called educated Liberian, that's how we think. Just because somebody holds master's degree, he or she is entitled to whatever position he or she has been appointed to. So, I've had some personal experiences with many Liberian diplomats around the globe. And I would tell you, they are not anywhere closer to where they've been posted. So what you see exhibit, or what you see happen right now with this gentleman, it's the same thing that we've seen, we've heard, we've known all the years. So it's not. I'm not surprised. And one last point I want to make, Anthony, I was just wanted to comment on Brother Wise's comment there. Look, when a president comes to deliver his State of the Nation, usually it's meant to lay out a roadmap for his first 6 years in office. It might not entail everything in detail, but leaving out something like asset declaration, for me, it was a big red flag for me to indicate to me what we are going to see in the coming months, in the coming weeks, in the coming years. It's not going to be any different than what we saw in the previous 6 years.
Thank you. Joe, let me come to you and let's focus on 3 nominees right now that people believe have issue. Councillor Kupokra is one, another individual people are saying has some questionable reputation, and so should not be in that position. Others are saying that he's from the camp of Prince Johnson, and Mr. Boakai is promising war crime court, and now you have somebody nominated from the Prince Johnson side, how can this person follow through on that? You can't assume that, but that's what others are saying. And then the Internal Affairs Minister Designate and Sarah Beslo Yanti, how did we get to this place with the individuals, and what should be done now?
Okay. So, Anthony, thanks for that question. But let me just clear something up. When I mention qualification, I'm not mentioning in terms of academic credential, because that doesn't, like Dukley said, I believe in that strongly, doesn't mean you are qualified to do the job. When I mention qualification, and I actually made reference to that, is the person capable? Can they serve in that capacity with honesty? That is what I meant. Okay, so now I will come to Madam Dukley. I don't know this lady. I never ever heard of her, but I listened to different platforms and read different papers. And from both sides,
you meant Madam Yanti, right?
Yeah, Madam Yanti. I'm sorry, Beslo. They said some people say she's qualified, and she can do the job. And when I listen to what they're naming, she served at the UN at Susan so stuff, and I'm like, what does that mean? Serving at the UN. How does that qualify you to represent the foreign policy of a country? If you were in Sudan or you were in Angola, what happened? Counting bags of rice, or counting because we we have to be honest here, because I know people who serve in those capacities also, even almost at the level. That's why they do. How much food is coming to that country? How many rakes they are bringing in, and how many people were probably raped and stuff like that. And they have foot soldiers, and they gather this information and they turn it over, and then they create some data. So for us to, because this is one of our problems, we internationalize everything, and internationalization is a Eurocentric. It's foreign. It's somebody else's concept. It's somebody else's interest. So you work for the UN at whatever capacity, that does not make you to be capable of leading or taking over that position. Okay, so I just want to clear that up. So if we're trying to say that she's qualified because of this, I'm saying no, we are missing something. It has to be more. Okay, the one about CRA and this gentleman that was just speaking, I think I will make reference to when we had our last discussion on this panel last Sunday. The point came up about war crime court, and I made a statement, because since like 2009, 10, 11, 12, I followed the whole TRC process, and I read a lot of the documents, and I saw how the thing is structured and how it went on. Anthony, there is no way they can implement it. It cannot be implemented, not in the form in which it was put, and not in the present situation that we have. And this is why. In order for the war to be over, these guys were the one that had guns. They were the one that had power. So they were the one that you negotiated with. They were the one that came into, they said, okay, for us to lay the gun down, they came into power. And let's forget about just the two guys. Many of them are in power in the Senate, in different area aspect of government. And these guys have strong, because we are talking about democracy now, they have strong political blocks, voting blocks. Let's say Prince Johnson. So if the democracy, from the statement that Brother Dukley, Sharif made, which we all know, if you want to win the second term, do you touch Prince Johnson? If you want to win the next term, do you touch this person? Do you mess with this guy that is from Sano, where there is this voting block, or this guy? So the people that you're supposed to persecute, the people, that is why he can boast. They are all in government. So where do you start? So this is what we are seeing here. So the crowd that they're talking about, but they want to talk about crowd going to justice ministry. And I wanted to make this point last time, but I forgot because we talked some. If they're talking about war crimes court, the Justice Department in Liberia, that is above them. CRA is appointed by the president, and he's going to be taking instruction from the president. And if the president really wanted to implement, if it was possible for him to do that, it's above whoever is going to be Justice Minister in Liberia. It's a whole different panel that is going to be set up. So CRA would not have any, I don't think that he will have anything to say he can block something and protect Prince Johnson.
Thank you.
I think people want to make that argument but just in that light, just so that they can. But I don't. So that what it has nothing to do with that. For me, I see that these guys are going to go into this position because they're looking at the examples. Those other people who were their bosses, like the Ellen, like who were the mother of the revolution, that they have a recording guy like Prince Johnson and all these other people. How you call this one that always arguing with everybody, whether he's right or wrong,
Yeah, can call over.
Huh?
Yeah, can call over.
Yeah, all these guys. So they're all there. So where do you start for you to really? So the whole. So that's the process that we are seeing here. So we are going to try, but this is what we have. So it will have to. So like Brother Eastman said, right now, what we need to focus on, we just want a government that will come in and make things work, or create a better economy, move the country forward over some time. These guys, once maybe at some point they all leave power, and then maybe down the line 10 15 years then you can probably implement some of those. Some might not be living, but right now it's going to be very difficult because these same people hold power, these same people are in Congress, these same people have to approve bills. It's going to
Thank
be
you,
difficult.
Joe. Thank you, Joe. Mr. Giman, now there's a unity party narrative now. They say, look, their old man, he has experience. He's trying to play smooth here. These individuals, he's not going to put them back. He's going to allow them to go to the Senate and let the Senate carry on its work and most likely deny them, since these things that are coming up now are as things that should not be ignored. You think that's a way to go here?
Well, when you're talking about the executive branch of the government, the sole responsibility of the executive branch is to enforce the law. That is paramount to an executive function. Without the rule of law, without the enforcement of law, the society will falter. And this is where Joseph Boakai had fallen flat on his face. If Joseph Boakai wanted to enforce the law that says asset declaration, he can't. He cannot look at anybody in the cabinet, in the government, in the ministry and say, declare your asset as per the law. He can't, because he has not done so. He has violated that code. So he can't. He also did something that have never been done in Liberian history, to merge the legislative branch of government and the executive. So it is quite possible that everybody that has been nominated will be confirmed, because those who nominated these folks are the same folks who are confirming them. So you see why we said from the beginning that this was a deviation from the rule of law. I have never, in my political sojourn, seen that the senators that are supposed to be the judges, they are the one nominating folks, putting folks forward at night, and then in the day, the same folks come. Like today, we heard from, I think, Front Page Africa and other people that were commenting, that there were comments, there were questions that were pre-arranged by Darius Dillon that were given to his sister-in-law, asking her these questions like, the education has been a mess. What is your vision? What are you going to do? What are you going to? All of these things, he said, even though she related to me, but these are tough questions, and I have to ask her the tough question. And then she would say, thank you, Honorable Senator, but this is what I'm going to do. So everybody could see it. So this is the Liberia that we have. I think Mr. Dukley had it right. We here are seeing something, like they say, this is a movie that we have seen before. We know who the bad man is. We know who's going to die at the end. We know who's going to win. We know this already. All of these people. For me, though, I have always suspected that these people were creatures of their sorority orientation. For me to see a woman that I respect, Benke, Benki Okolari King. Benki King Okolari, that was the former Secretary of State.
Alubaki King Akirele is the name.
Yes. For this woman to be there today in that hall, for my own mentor, Blambo Nelson, the ambassador of Japan, to be in. We talk about the old order now. I'm naming names Jimmy will tell you. We are talking about the old boys that work. They are circling the wagon here. The whole and not only that, but they had no regard for the rule of law. They came into the Senate and sat in the senator's chair, and they told the senators to sit somewhere else. Where in the world have you ever seen something like this? But it happens because
Blamon Nelson was a senator for Grand Creek County before.
Yes, and when he got defeated, they made him ambassador to Japan. And it was he and his delegation that came to the inauguration, and the chief of protocol introduced the Japanese delegation as here come the Chinese. So this is, I have never seen anything like this in my life. This is a gross disrespect for law. How can you just walk into the Senate as though they are nobodies, and you sit in their seats? And the senators come in, they stand and say, "What are you doing in my seat?" They say, "We are here to support this woman." It is, I've never seen anything like this. And to my brother, Mr. Legend here, I don't know what to tell you, but I will quote my friend, a quote from Oscar Wilde. And it says here, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Joseph Boakai wants to be George Weah so bad that he cloning everything George Weah have done. In fact, George Weah went to I tell you what, one of the UMU or one of the universities and got a doctorate degree. Yesterday we saw Joseph Boakai went to the university, and now they call him that they confer upon him Dr. Joseph Boakai. My brother said, George Weah built a house in the first 6 months. So what's wrong with Joseph Boakai building a house? George Weah did
I don't think Boakai is building a house. He's just renovated, reportedly.
There you go. Alio said the Lebanese community decided that the president needed a befitting residence. So they are doing the miscellaneous, but what's wrong? The president needs to be upgraded. Can you imagine that these people who said they are people of character, integrity, will sit there? They said this man was so humble, a simple-minded man. And today they are saying all of these things. Where is this country going? The Senate, where do we call it the House of Elders? People just walk in there and sat in the people's seat.
Thank you.
I'm baffled.
Thank you. And Jimmy, Madam Beslo Yantinam, was nominated to become our chief diplomat. I can call it that way, for lack of better way. And she is the one now taking all the diplomats and ambassadors in the chamber to be her cherished squad and behave in this way. The debate here now is that she should be withdrawn. What do you think should be done?
Okay, that's a good question. They claim her experiences with the UN, and I totally agree with Mr. Tao. Just for the fact that she worked with the UN, she could have been a bean counter. She could have been on a certain project. What do you want your foreign minister to embody? Well, let's face it. If Liberia is faced with economic crisis, which we are, we don't have enough jobs, we don't have enough industry, we don't have enough roads, we don't have electricity, we have so much needs. To me, all this looks like economics. You need a foreign minister who will be able to go out there and negotiate deals, negotiate agreements that will bring economic benefit to the country. That is what the profile of the foreign minister needs to embody. So this nomination, for the fact, I think maybe because she supported the rescue train, I'm not sure. But here's the thing. not only do these nominations reflect the thinking of the Boakai administration, reflect the direction of the Boakai administration, but we have a check and balance systems. If these people are approved also by the Senate, they too need to be evaluated if they're capable of leading us in the Senate, in the legislature. So it's a two-pronged thing. This gentleman who made these threats on video, okay, when in the case of Zoli Zo, when he went there, he made certain statements that were incompatible with some of the senators there, and they did not approve of his nomination. Similar, Wamodiki went there, and he had fake credentials and citizenship. That he was rejected. Let these people do their work, and if they don't do their work, we're going to need to take them out as well. I believe Liberian people are waking up. Liberian people, once upon a time, they were blind to many things, but Liberian, due to the internet, due to the availability of information today, social media, and all of that, we're waking up. We all of these people, all their decisions, all their nominations, everything they do should be in scrutiny by the Liberian people, because if they fail us, then we must exercise our God-given right as citizens and move them from the power they're in now. So they're not getting away with it. We are waking up. Let them continue to think that way. That's why I was saying earlier, give them a chance. They say get a long rope. Let's see who you are. And after we are convicted that you are the same wine in new, or old wine in new bottles, or the same old business as usual, then we need to take action. That's all.
All right. Mr. Wisa will get a final word on this. And before you come in, Mr. Wisa, to the audience, if you want to participate, the phone number is on the screen. It's in the scrolling text below. It's also in the Facebook and YouTube live feed for you. It's 605-313-6004. Don't hesitate to enter the code 791-403 to join the discussion. Legend, we're talking about appointees having issues now. What should be done?
Right. My brother, I'm a huge proponent of those who subscribe to the fact that common sense trumps education or degree, if you may. Look, this lady, Madam Beslow, and let me also acknowledge here that thankfully to the expediency of the chairman on foreign affairs, the People's Senator Dara DeLong, he will order that whole program off, because if you just look in the yard alone of the house, I mean, there were too many people loitering around, and who knows what would have happened. So it was very prudent on his part to call that whole program off. But she created more doubts in cloud over her very self from her doing. I mean, if you have nothing sinister, why would you carry people behind you? That's a job interview. Like that Senator Dillon was telling his colleagues today when I was watching the program of the Inspector General of Police, the boss of police, Gregory Coleman. He said this is a job interview. Rightfully so, it is a job interview. So if you're going for an interview, where in the world have you seen people going for an interview and they take their family and loved ones to accompany them? I mean, it is so unthinkable what she's proceeding, her appointment being highly questionable and contested. It's a shame that she's carrying herself that way. And I will always acknowledge that those are all who supported this government and our objective. We always speak on when the wrong come about. We will point a finger toward that direction. And let me jump to this gentleman who is supposed to be going to internal affairs. It is pathetic. It is disgusting, and it was unwelcoming to see somebody who is going into public service speak the way he spoke. I mean, I watched that thing twice today, and it was so uncalled for. I don't care how upset you are. You have to some extent govern yourself because you are going into the public sector. You have to interact with other people, and the way you portray yourself is how people are going to take you, to be. And to no surprise, he openly confessed and he called himself out by stating that he fought war. I mean, there are people who fought war, and we've long progressed beyond the period of our civil upheaval, and they have refined themselves and they are doing better. Why would you want to create that picture in our minds when we are trying to get past the period of war? And to conclude, I will end with my brother Gayman. Gayman, I call you twice. Gayman, I think what is good for the goose should be good for the gander. Like I said earlier, the president is an upgrade. Those are not things that the president will verbalize to people. People who are within the support system of the president will acknowledge, even if a president was to refuse, say a president was living a standard normal life for the last 30 years in one building, if he becomes a president, it is only expedient that people who are around him will say, Mr. President, if you wore a $2 watch, you're not going to wear a $2 watch today. You're going to wear at least a decent $5 watch. Not something exorbitant, not something so exuberant, but something that is reflective of a country's president. You are not just Joseph Yuma Boakai, former director of ex vice president. Now you are the full representation of everyone who calls himself a Liberian. Over 5 million people call themselves Liberian. You are a direct reflection of your people. So whenever people will cast expressions on George Weah for wearing luxury Gucci shoes or belt, I'll be like, well, what do you expect the president to do? Portray himself as a poor man? He's reflecting an entire nation. So in all fairness, I always stick with the realistic standpoint. So Gayman, let's be honest. If you want to accuse Ambassador Boakai, now President Boakai, of something, think of that same thing when it was Weah's tenure. Did you also call him, or did you agree or conform to people who would say things about him? I mean, fair is fair.
Thank you. And so you are saying that it was okay for Mr. Boakai and some of his able lieutenants to have taken pictures when they were trying their suit, taking measurement, I believe it was in Washington, and putting it on social media for the Liberian people to see, oh, our president now is upgrading, and because he's president, he had to be our representative. He needed to go on Facebook for people to see us. Like Darius DeLong became senator. He went into the first class cabin of the aircraft. He said, yeah, he took a picture. And then, anyway, let me leave it there. Let's go to the colors. But let me correct something here. I think someone said that when the CDC came to power, they had all their able lieutenants who stood with them in positions of trust. In other words, they got everybody in there. That is not true.
Anthony, real quick.
Yeah, hold on, let me land my point here.
Okay.
After October was CDC USA chairman, he never got a job. After Zuckerman was CDC USA chairman, at some point he never got a job. Joseph Jackson was CDC chairman, at some point he never got a job. Rufus Akwe was CDC chairman in New York, a qualified guy, never got a job. I can go on and on. And these people were unfairly treated. So CDC, like the United Party crying wolf now, had the same, experience. Go ahead, comrade. We have to go to the callers here quickly.
Yeah. I was listening to Jerome. Jerome is he's a political pundit. If he's, he knows how to craft all these arguments. But it's funny, man. So when it was CDC time, and he never had a voice. But listen, it's on point though. If you're in the presidency, all of a sudden, then you start to renovate your house. This is a bad look. Look, if I'm president, I sleep in the same house for 50 years. What is the need to upgrade it? What is the need to get all these flashy cars? Or the point is, you want to go from point A to point B. These government officials don't need taxpayers' money to buy themselves vehicles, calling cars, gasoline, the repairs, maintenance. They don't need that. You need to get rid of all of this. And then the taxpayers are paying for their houses, paying for their electric bills and stuff, their telephone bills. It's called fleecing. fleecing Liberia, and they are fleecing Liberia, and it's unacceptable.
And Comrade, you couldn't have said it right.
Comrade
Some of them
Sharif,
need to learn
there were things
before.
that you did.
Mr. We said let leave it there. Let leave it there. Let
Comrade
go to the
Sharif,
call.
there were things that a person did. Okay.
Mr. We said, please let leave it like that.
Yes,
Go to the
sir.
call. They are waiting. You know, that is why my favorite president in Africa is Sankara. This guy almost like downgraded when he became president. You know, he was the people's man. He wanted to be in the people's shoe, right? So what is wrong with it? We have an executive mansion. The renovation in my calculation is about 95% done. That house is even better than Mr. Boakai's house right now.
But I'm hearing that I might even go to live there. That's
why can't you go there?
That's what I'm.
What's stopping you? Anyway, let's leave it there. Let's go to the callers. Let's leave it there, gentlemen. Let's go to the callers here. Our first caller here is Tubman. Tubman, you are live.
Yeah, good show. Thank you, Anthony. Nice to be on the show tonight. The first thing here, a couple of things I want to touch on. I want to say thank you to your panelists and everybody on point. But the first thing here, we're looking at the Senate, the one they appointed as chairman on foreign relations. Darrows, they don't know about foreign relations. And he's chairing the foreign relations committee. So coming to Madam Tesla, we sit right in America. We see people when they go for confirmation, when they appoint and nominate them to be on the justice, they carry their family member. They carry people to chair them. I mean, nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with that. But I mean, that's my thing. This clip you played, Anthony, the gentleman we saw on that clip, that incident occurred during the election. It's not yesterday's stuff. It occurred during the election. He was bitterly defending Joseph Jima Boakai party, the Unity Party, that during the election that incident occurred. So Mr. Boakai is fully aware of this man. He knows about it. This man is being paid back. That's a payback. The nomination you see him getting right now is a payback. So it's not something that happened yesterday. That incident occurred during the election. So I just want to bring it to your attention. Now let's move forward with this topic. You know, in Liberia, they say when the hunter go in the bush and they kill the elephant, and everybody getting their share right there, and they say, oh, no, hold on, let's take it down, let's take it to terms, and then we season it and dry, and then we'll get your share. It's a problem. It's a problem. So this guy is not getting his piece of the pie right now. He says, listen, let's take the time and then get everything seasoned, we dry it, we get your share. He's like, he probably might not get it, he might not get anything. But I don't know why he's worried, because he's party chairman. That's a big position. You're a party chairman. When you go work at you are, you're a war rooting party chairman. So I don't think he should be fighting for demonstrating to the president. I think these guys are a joke. And like if someone said on the panel, the Douglas said it, we don't know who is in control. The old man is not in control of anything. It's the Russian lives to him. So everybody bring a piece of paper of their own interest, and that's what's going on. And Pape, the old man, is completely absent-minded. We're telling you guys, he's not aware of what's going on. People rushing lives to him, and he would keep appointing, and say, listen, it's a big mess, and we know that's what's going on, so I will just leave it as it is. The old man is not in control. It's business as usual. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to caller with phone number ending in 1190. I see the name here, Jensen. You are live. You have a minute.
Okay, this is Eric, and I'll let you say thanks to the panelists and for very splendid presentation. I just want to first start with Jerome. I think Jerome, go back to the CDC when they used the slogan, "They are now in the picture." Remember when they had the, coming of CDC government?
Yeah, this person is not in the photo.
Yeah, so I mean, let's take that as almost similar thing like this could happen in this particular regime or in the process that's ongoing. To the issue, I think I'm quite want to look at the asset declaration of the president and the vice president. I think that's a very concerning issue. That indeed by this time the whole measure had declared his asset and his VP. Says indeed actually he ran on also transparency and talking about corruption and so. I don't know how much the Senate will be able to cross-examine the nominees and pushing them to have the assets to be declared. I follow, I think, the first batch of nominees. I don't know, I didn't hear any of the senators actually pushing for anything like the assets declaration, whether have been initiated or completed. So I think that's a very strong thing. It's a challenging one. We hope the women can do the best thing to do that as early as possible. And coming to the other two key nominees that you got discussed, like the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Justice, that of MIA. I think for the Foreign Affairs, the nominee, I think what they need to do would be the Senate can easily request for additional information from the nominee. For the UN, normally, to have a formal evaluation every year. So, the style of academic credential that's being on question right now, we can also ask for performance in terms of at least the last 2 years performance evaluation from her employer, that is the UN. Especially maybe when she was holding a P5 position, that's professional level 5, or a D1 or D2, whatever position she has, is a standard within the UN system that you need to do a performance evaluation every year. Okay? So I'm sure she was at that higher level. I mean, you are most senior person at the level of the management system. The country rep, if you set a country rep or representative, definitely you need a performance evaluation from the executive board level to determine your next deployment or in the rotation.
Hold on. Are you saying that even though she lay claims to these academic credentials that have been questioned, those things shouldn't matter now, and they should look at her performance in her most recent place of work, and that is what they should maybe evaluate her on and make decision on? But she laid claim to this credential and submitted them also to the Senate and the president that, hey, yeah, my qualification, and this is why I think I will serve you well for this position. It's about trust and honesty here. Finally, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not ruling that out. The academic credential, of course, you need to be verified. That should be critiqued. But if it's the entire nomination that is ongoing, unfortunately, for some of the colleagues where maybe at certain institutions that do annual evaluation of staff or employees, but these perspectives, I think she resigned before coming to contest the election. So the just election. So her employment record should be almost current. So that should be one of the layers of data that they need to call for some of these nominees to see how they perform besides the academic credential, which is necessary. I'm not ruling it out. But you should also look at their working.
I have to let you go here, but please end on this note. If the allegation against her credentials are proven to be true, that she lied about these credentials, what should be done?
I won't answer that. The Senate will make a decision on that. But I mean, for the Minister of Justice, I just want to go there before you get me off quickly.
Okay, please do.
We think that the nominee also actually verify or provide information to the public on his relationship or whatever they call the pay-to-play sanction that were imposed on his leader at the time. What was proved? They take into it, though Clinton, was viable, high, but he was still a chairman for MDR. We think that the clarified allegation that is coming on top of some of these allegations. What was his rule? Did he partake into anything as well? The pay-to-play sanction on King Johnson. You need to clarify that. I think I'll let it stop. The MIA, the speaker, he made a point, but I don't think it was quite correct that he was not speaking for Joseph Boakai at that time. He was actually pushing the line when he and Thomas Farah was in a bitter fight for the representative swamp.
Thank you.
I'll let it stop there until the speaker happens.
Thank you so very much. Flomo Livingston.
Yeah, I mean, great show. Thanks to the panelists, and thank you, Associate. Look, I mean, it's so easy when people want to, some form of panelists, some panelists and some people call pretend that they in the president office, they know what everything the president is doing, or they just a lot of allegations saying, oh, we told him that the president is not running this. Like, you in the office with the president, you said what with the president. Look, for me, the appointment, again, I give credit to the president by starting a vetting team to do that. That's the whole time with the vetting team. I mean, we'll credit the media. So until that happens, the media can bring it out. No, we are all human beings. You know, the president is not perfect. No one is perfect here. If they give you anything he's doing, not a mistake. And that's what the media bring it out. So now we can be able to, the president can be able to be brief on it, and he can be able to remove those names from there. I mean, look, for what they are doing the election, if you were being harassed by Sinabunu, our brother who was the immigration officer in Poyade with Tamusala. So you'll be attacked, and here is supporters. That's why you're trying to tell it that if you continue to do that, I will react. So we should also see that. I mean, like the foreign minister, that lady, look, what she did was wrong. By taking people, former ambassador and Gil Devil, also to go disturb that thing was not good. That just showed to me that our credential as father is not even, she doesn't have it. Because if she has it, she will go there and defend it. Not bringing people to disturb. So some, Rosie Kamau, I was supposed to see him going in there to do that. That's very embarrassing. And what she did was wrong. And hopefully, the student confirm her. If I was the president should remove her from that list. And the president should declare his assets. I support JMB, President Boakai. Well, at least, that's one of the promises. You got to do that. I'm begging him to please do that. And hopefully, Mr. Gilman, your president, your former president, declared his assets. Access to, I believe it's called the ACC law. So hopefully they do that, that will be good for us. I mean, look, they'll come to here, we have to be patient. You can say, everyone cannot work in the government. It's impossible. Everybody cannot work in the government. So it's like, there's a lot of time for President Boakai. So you should hire her because they are qualified in some way. But whatever cannot work, that's what we're praying that the people be appointed and confirmed, they can come and serve the Lebron for that way they can open. So probably said they can come and create jobs for the citizens to work because the government alone cannot employ people. And we're looking forward to that. For me, I'll be patient. The government just been there for 12 days and we expect for miracle to work for the damage the CDC government did beyond repair. To me, that's to repair what the CDC government did. I don't even know it can be able to happen in 6 years.
Thank you.
We'll kill the rescue and we'll focus on it and we'll not be disturbed. The president said, will not be disturbed by what the Lord are saying. Some people just lost the election. They are saying that to see more. So
Thank you.
It's hurting them, so they just go. The president to do certain things. So let's give the president some time. The probation time, 3 to 6 months.
Thank you.
Confirm all his nominees when his cabinet are formed. Then can start critiquing him. Thank you.
So we should wait for that time before we talk about the inaugural forms.
The number form is the internal auditing company, whatsoever it is.
Internal auditing agency.
Yes, they say they are doing it. So that given time, when they come we are planning, who should come as court? They should be accountable. I don't care who that person is, whether it's support the GMP or to support the ongoing government. They should be accountable for that.
Thank you so much. You know, from my town, Sastan, if you are the head of the family, if they kill the chicken, you get a tie. The chairman is I'm the chairman that led us to this victory. I see people who are now with us in the Pupu Water getting nominated and qualified. What is going on here?
Yes. Yes.
Let's leave it there, gentlemen. We passed 2 hours. We don't want to go too long. And I will solicit your closing statement here or argument, and I want us to close on this. Where are we with the rescue mission? And let me give you a premise so you can close so succinctly. When the CDC came to power, in no time, 16 billion news came in. The CDC was confused. It was a nightmare. These guys were under pressure. I'm not suggesting that they did everything right, but they weathered the storm and they got on course. And they did what they could. The Liberia people fired them though, for reason we all know. And the allegations, corruption, and yet and that, but they weathered the storm. Thinking about that, and knowing what's happening now with nominations, slow pays, inaugural funds, a disastrous inauguration that shamed us as a country. Everybody agree on that. And can the rescue mission get back on track and rescue this country? That's the question I want us to close with here for your closing. And who wants to go first? I see someone that's hungry here.
Yeah, I'll go first. Why not? Look, so Reverend Luther Tappe, Reverend Tappe to me is a party person. He is a man of the people, and I like what he's doing. He's protesting in the name of the people, even though he's protesting for himself, but he's using the people as as a conduit to do that, because he is a party person. So that inaugural fund where, $1,000 each was allotted to the party people when they went to him, according to him, that is the right thing to do. What do you expect him to do? He is the party leader. So you can't leave the party out. That is the ruling party. So by allowing the party to participate in the largesse that was given out to the district, it is the right thing to do. And I commend him for that. All he needs to do is to, put out the report out there. Just make your report, and you're good to go to me. And then lastly is the issue that he is going through right now. He should not be going through this if Mr. Boakai was in control of the transition. Certain people are in transition, and they don't want to see the likes of Luther Tappe serving his country. If he wants to serve his country, by all means, he should be given the opportunity to serve his country. So the idea that, everybody can work in government, but you are seeing a former rebel who has been appointed. You're seeing individuals with questionable academic credentials. You're seeing individuals with all kinds of questionable characters being appointed, and you are the leader of the party that was so successful in dethroning a popular president, a revolution of a sort. And you mean to tell me that you can't be a part of that from the get-go? From the get-go, you should be a part of that process. And so it is right what's going on. I support the Reverend, and kudos to him. And I wish that, and I hope that the president will listen to him.
Yeah, comrade, if Mr. Cummings, Alexander Cummings were here, he would disagree with you. He has the saying, lead us eat last.
That's why he's not president. That's why he didn't win.
All right. Mr. Gibman, you go, you're closing. Can they, what are these, these hiccups that they're having right now, and put their team together and take out on this rescue mission?
Well, according to your own analogy here, if we're going by your logic, CDC started this way. They weathered the storm to some degree, and they got fired at the end. So according to legend here, since Joseph Boakai want to be just like George Weah, he started rocky at the end. Eventually, they're going to fire him too. But let me end on this note. Liberia's problem is this credentialization of everything. In Liberia, everybody wants to be a doctor. If you are a doctor, Amos Sawyer walks in the room, he says, I cannot serve on the committee. I have to be the chair because I'm the doctor in the room. So every child wants to be a doctor in Liberia, whether by hook or by crook. And this is where our problem is. Because of that, everybody will embellish their resume. And when it comes to the Darrell Dillon, a man who himself presented a fake credential, is now vetting people's credential. That is the paradox of Liberia. But let me end on the real story behind the Secretary of State. The Secretary of State of our Foreign Minister, Dexby, a woman with ambition, she ran for president. She is now nominated for a position that will become renowned and more powerful out there, setting her up to be the successor to Joseph Boakai. But there's another woman in the house that is my sister from Grand Bassa County, who also is positioning herself to succeed Joseph Boakai. And she wants to make sure that there is no competition there. And her partner in crime, Darrell Dillon, is going to do all he can to make sure that there is only one powerful woman in Liberia that stands a chance to succeed Joseph Boakai. This is why Ms. Beslow Unity is in serious trouble. This is why you see Darrell Dillon and the Cully and all of these folks are circling the wagon to make sure that so much pressure is piled on Joseph Boakai to pull this nomination, because the only powerful woman that should be standing in Liberia is Nyomli Kanga, poised to be the successor of Joseph Boakai. So this is the power dynamics that is going. It's not about credential.
So where is Kun? Where you live in Kun? How is that going to work when the vice president is sitting right there?
Well, listen to this. Everybody know Kun is a one-trick pony. Is Nimba. Okay? When you take everything with the dominance
are you trying to nullify the significance of Nimba? Isn't why Boakai is president today?
Guess what? Joseph Boakai and Prince Johnson, from the beginning, Prince Johnson said he needed 19 positions, including LPSC, LPRC, the Port Authority, the Finance Ministry, and the Justice Ministry. That's why he came here with. Okay? He is not getting either one of those. So now he's going to be disenchanted. The folks in Nimba County that voted for position over development, they are now going to say that they have been bamboozled, they've been hoodwinked. So here we are now, where Unity Party comes around and say, look, corral around Kun or the other Unity Party. It's not going to happen. The Bassa woman is going to step in and going to bring people together and going to dethrone that. And finally, Mr. Krua is a disgrace. Mr. Krua was found guilty for stealing from his client. Stealing from his client. And the court found him guilty for theft. And the bar, the Liberian Bar Association, demanded that he pay full restitution. How can a man who is a rogue or thief be justice minister? It is not going to happen. It shouldn't happen. We are not talking about allegation. We talk about facts. This man stole his client's money, and they took him to court. He was found guilty by a law judge in Monrovia, and the bar to which he belonged, demanded that he restitute fully. This is the man who have not done that, is now being a nominee for the justice. Can you imagine? Thank you very much.
All right. Jimmy?
Well, okay, well, Mr. Gima, is that the first time you ever heard a criminal is elected to top position in Liberia?
No, election is different. Election is different, but this one has been appointed.
Okay, all right. Yeah, here's what I believe. The Unity Party, we can already see there's a lot going on. We don't know how the power structure will eventually look, but it better take form as soon as possible. There needs to be one consolidated power who has the last word. This going back, taking nominations, going back, if this permeates into the complete governance of all Liberia with the ministries and all of that, we will have a colossal mess. One thing we can say about the WIA administration, we knew where the power was. If it wasn't WIA, we knew it was McGill. we knew. That has to be established in this unity. It's no joke unless we'll be in a colossal mess. There must be one person who has the ultimate power, or a designate who has the alternate power, and all the shots are called by him. And we look forward. We look forward to seeing that, because our country is at stake, and we cannot afford to go backwards anymore. So the sooner they get their act together, we all will rejoice with them. Thank you.
All right, Father Washington.
Thanks, Anthony. I think for me, I think politics is so much a serious matter that it should be left for politicians. Because, yeah, when I say politicians, I mean anyone who makes a political speech. It can be a pastor, it can be a sportsman. I love you start making political statements, and we know that you're a liar. The fact that so many successful politicians are so much, I mean, shameless liars. It's not only a reflection on them, it's also a reflection on us. When the people want the impossible, who do they turn to? They turn to politicians, the liars. They're the ones to turn to. The ones who tell them that, oh, I will build bridges, but there's even no river. That is why I feel so sad for our people who made that decision to say, hey, this rescue team is coming to rescue us. Because I can assure them they have to wake up, because nobody's going to rescue them. The goalpost is going to be changing each day until the 6 is over. Because nothing fundamentally is going to change. It's just going to be business as usual. They will keep hoping every day, because that's what they keep telling them. And that's where we're going to go. So I just pray that we just keep holding on, because they're going to be praying for the next 6 years again to get the next president again. And the next politician comes again and last of them. And that's what it's going to be. And that's the kind of culture, and that's the kind of socket of our country. So that's why, for me, I don't want any hope in these people. They come and say they come to rescue us. Rescue. They come to rescue themselves. But thanks for having me. I think it's been a wonderful exchange, and I think we're going to provide some education for our people.
Father Washington, we are always thankful for your perspective here. Eston Legend, the legend of the opposition, he calls himself. I don't know where he's going with that name. Your closing, brother.
Well, I like how Gilman concocted those allegations against the People's Senator Dara Dillon. And if you look at it, it has no bearing. How can you talk about somebody who's a president pro tem working a completely function of government and try to bring in Sarah Besloyanti? I mean, you will hear things in the corridor, but we shouldn't fall for every little thing that we hear, out there. That didn't make much of a coherent, thought to me. I mean, I find that, appalling to bring the senator into such. But I'm going to split this into two. My conclusion: there are two. However you split it, you look at it, bro, you will see two kinds of people. He mentioned Kura, and you are right. If somebody who brought into disrepute and they openly had to acknowledge it, and the rightful action was taken against them, we find that on both sides of the spectrum. You think if the United States government have not brought sanction on the legs of McGill, who built an entire mansion for his late mother, or mausoleum for his mother's grave with Liberian people funds, you think they would have removed him from where he was and then take action that he ended up going to the Senate today? It wouldn't have been the case. He was meeting his position with the CDC government. So we should not throw, we should not throw our round with those who were aligned heavily with the civil crisis, with the like of Prince Johnson, who deflected from CDC for personal reason, which we know now, to the UP, for which reason the power shifted to UP today. You look at CDC, they have Chris Follett. You look on UP, they have ex-General Bud Naked. So we just have to find a common ground, but in the end, we should maintain objectivity as much as possible. You cannot just throw all the stones are the people, who took over your government. But when you see something wrong with the past, you've never acknowledged it. And I find that very, 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 very appalling. So, what to say, I would like to just keep it succinct and say, long live our common patrimony in Liberia. As we grow in age, it remains my hope that we'll grow in wisdom, my brother. So I thank you for a 40-minute opportunity again today, and we look forward to having more of these exchanges.
Just that towel, you're closing.
Yes. First, Brother Anthony, thanks for having me. I watched your show many, many, many times over like almost 3 years, and I'm glad I'm on here so that I can make contribution. But what I would say is about the rescue mission is that the rescue mission needs to be rescued. I see problem here from the transition, the inauguration in the first place, the way money was handled is one thing that we need to change in Liberia. We need to have a different method of how we, even if we had good intentions, how we channel funds. One of the things is the word money for county development. Why is it being placed in the hands of senators or representatives? Those things need to change. But for the rescue mission, it's in trouble because the head of the ship, President Boakai, he missed the boat he should have declared his asset on the day or before he took office. Missing that. Some people say, just 7 days or just 2 weeks. It don't take that long to steal. I'm not saying he's stealing, but I say it don't take that long to steal when you have resources available to you. What do I mean here? We heard the UP group, the Boakai government, the new government say the WIA government left only 20 million in the consolidated account. And then they called the bank governor and he said, no, it was 40 million. Do we know why they said 20? Was that other 20 about to come up missing in 2 weeks before they declared an asset? So these things are serious. And to conclude, I can tell the Liberian people, these guys are not going to declare the asset. And if they declare it, it's going to be in a vague way. And they're never going to audit any government. The same reason that the WIA government did not audit the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government, because they all have intention to enrich themselves. They don't want to set the precedent. I've been saying this for years, and we are at it. And I'm disappointed. I don't think anything good is going to come out of this government. In fact, I mentioned it here. I think the government is going to be worse than the WIA government.
Wow. Mr. Dukley, you heard Tao there. He said even the rescue mission needs to be rescued. Do you agree? And can this rescue team now, with all the hiccups they're having, pull it together, weather the storm, get back and try and actually rescue us? Is that possible?
I am cautiously optimistic.
Good man is always managing expectation. Go ahead, sir.
Taking Joseph Boakai's many years of experience in this business, it baffles me to look at the manifold paths that have been taking place from day one. It doesn't look good, and the prospect that we are looking up to doesn't seem like it's going to be realized. But with that said, because of this, the many players that the president has to confront, like it or like him or hate him, Prince Johnson is the kingmaker of the Liberian politics. He's calculative. He knows when to strike, and he knows where to strike. So we might not like him as a person, the history that he has had during the war, etc. But in our system as it is, he is the one to go to. So with that said, I think this thing can still be righted. It can still be fixed. But in order to do that, I think the president has to make sure that the competing interests and all the political calculus that were made need to align with his objectives. Until then, like Brother Eastman said, to create a structure that we can look up to and see what and say, yes, with this structure in place, maybe, just maybe, we can be a lot more optimistic. Until then, I will keep my I will keep my hopes alive.
You keep managing your expectation, right?
Yes.
Mr. Dukla, thank you. Mr. Towell, Comrade Sharif, Mr. Eastman, out of Washington, Mr. Wisa, Mr. Goodman, the citizen who is unapologetic. Folks in cyberspace, we can't thank you enough for staying with us throughout this discussion and debate tonight.
Yes. Mr. C, just before you go, please answer me. Where is Wilmer Pay?
Well, I can give you his phone number and you can call him.
Okay. Yeah, please, after the show.
and Comrade Sharif, I'll be asking you, where is Eminent Kessley? Anthony Kessley. Where is he?
Where is Kessley?
This man has been a loyal lieutenant.
Yes.
Where is he?
He needs to be appointed like yesterday. He needed to be appointed like yesterday.
Yesterday.
This is serious.
Anyway,
he was the chief of staff for Joseph Boakai when he was vice president.
Yeah, absolutely.
And did an excellent job. He's a great writer.
Yeah, oh yes. I mean, activists, everything. So
there was another gentleman by the name of Steve who used to work with the vice president when he was vice president.
Yeah, is that a guy that called Yekasin, maybe?
Some Steve. He used to. I think he came from Boston.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, again, thank you. And folks in cyberspace, please always do us a favor, share our show, like our page, whether on YouTube, on Facebook, do that. We appreciate you. And that's the only contribution we demand for you. Why we do our best here in educating, elevating, and promoting all things Liberia. And that is why we'll always close with a song that says, we are indeed all Liberians, and we need rescue. The president said this nation is in distress. Is he on that train? We'll find out. Bye-bye, folks. Enjoy the song.
We are Liberians.